What's going on, guys? Geoff here, once again back here in Japan, and I've got another video for you guys today talking about probably one of my favorite rods of all time. It's about to be summertime, or it is summertime by the time you guys are watching this, and that basically means it's wake bait time, it's top water time, it's throwing smaller, shad glide baits or smaller swim baits, and the rod that I've always chosen and picked up around this time of year has just been the old classic staple now at this point, the Megabass P5 Mark 56. And so today I'm going to break down this amazing rod for you guys today and basically go over why I love it. So let's get right into today's video. Right there. Probably my biggest Arizona smallmouth ever on the DRT Tiny Clash with the Yabase lip. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Oh my god. That was so sick. Holy smokes. Nice.
This was trying to come. Yosha!
Nice fish.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness, dude. Oh, choked it. Oh, you choked it. Oh my god. Annihilated that thing. Oh my goodness. There's another one, boys. Oh my goodness. Yeah. You think you wanted it, Chief. Oh my god, did he absolutely come up and smoke that thing, dude?
Dude, another pretty fish. Holy smokes, look at that thing. Ate it right at my feet. How sick is that? I'm one of the best bass fishermen to ever live. That was disgusting. That was fun. Go! Nice. Nice. Oh shit! That's having too much fun now, dude. Okay. 6-inch mag draft. Still catching them. All right, another one right there. again, bounce it through a tree. That one came up and got it. Another nice one on that mag draft freestyle. Such a perfect bait to be fishing in and around these trees. Whew. Another beautiful, healthy fish right there. So there's been a recent uptick in guys wanting to fish that 6 or 7 inch shad glide bait, or they want to try throwing a wake bait that's anywhere from 1.5 ounces up to 2.5 ounces, or they want to try fishing like a 6 inch to 8 inch mag draft, or so on and so forth. The list kind of goes on and on, but there's a range that guys are kind of wanting to get more into, and that's anywhere from like about 1 ounce to about 2.5 ounces, maybe about 3 ounces or so. And before, there wasn't a whole lot of amazing rods on the market to kind of suit those guys looking to throw that size. You know, before it was just you're a swim bait guy and you don't really throw that small stuff, and so you're kind of having to throw a rod that's a little bit stronger, a little bit faster than what you would typically want to throw that smaller kind of swim bait on. But then the other way is guys were just kind of using like an overpowered crankbait rod or a flipping stick or anything like that. And luckily, Megabass and the P5 line made a rod that I think just is absolutely amazing, and that's the Mark 56. Now, I've personally been fishing this rod for a couple of years now, really ever since it came out, and I've absolutely fallen in love with this rod. Now, I've fished with P5s before. I understood that these are high-end bougie rods, and you know, the light, the crisp, they're sensitive, they're strong, like the actions and tapers are amazing, especially for hard baits. And so when this 56 came out, I was really excited to fish it, to spec it out. It's a 7'6", it's an F7 power rod, and it's basically rated anywhere from 3/4 to, they say, about 3.5, which is, I'd say, pretty accurate for this rod. And the reason why this rod is so amazing for me is because I wanted a rod that could fish that, you know, 1 ounce up to 2.5 ounces in a shad glide bait, which that could be a lot of different glide baits now on the market. The ones that I fished personally on this rod have been like the iSlide 187. I fished the Spro and KGB Chad Shad on this rod. I have fished a wide variety of different wake baits. I've fished the Magdraft 6 inch and 8 inch on this rod. And so anything that lives in that range, this is kind of the rod that I pick up and go with. Overall, I really like the length of the rod at 7'6". It's not too long, yet it's not too short. The handle on the rod is the perfect length, and overall it's very, very balanced, and I really like this rod. Now, a lot of swim bait rods nowadays are starting to become ferruled. This rod is not ferruled. I kind of wish it was ferruled. I know a lot of guys are still kind of iffy on the whole ferrule thing, but it's not ferruled. It's just a single piece rod here that's not ferruled. Hopefully one day they do make a ferruled version of this rod. I think that'd be super sick. But that is the rod in itself. What makes this rod so special? Well, it's the P5 blank. Obviously, we all kind of know that the P5 blanks are just amazing, amazing blanks, right? And it has this beautiful tip up here. And overall, I'd say this rod is very, very parabolic. However, when you're fishing that glide bait or you're fishing that mag draft or something like that, it has still the top tip section it gives a little bit, but it doesn't give too much to where it feels like it's like a soft sponge when you're trying to work a glide bait. It still has that nice crisp action to where you can feel exactly what the bait is doing, even out on a farther cast. And so that allows you to have great sensitivity of what the lure is doing, make sure that it's running right, whether it's going left or right, left, right, right, left, like. So I can feel that through this rod and with that tip. However, when you do hook a fish or you're fishing this rod, maybe like as a crankbait rod, or you're cranking around like a tiny clash or something like this, this rod has an incredible parabolic action, and it goes really, really deep. We are definitely past the halfway mark, and you're still getting a bend out of this rod. And that bend is really what makes this rod special, and you just don't lose fish on this rod, especially if you're throwing like a crankbait or a glide bait. All of the fish that I've hooked on this rod, I have basically landed, and that's really impressive on a rod. And so that parabolic action is incredibly money for treble hook style baits. This has been that go-to rod for me that I always pick up. I enjoy fishing this rod, and it's just fantastic. I know a lot of guys have been picking up this rod within the last couple of years, and they absolutely fall in love with this rod, and for good reason. This thing is super solid, and I love this rod. That's why I even brought it here to Japan with me. Now, I've also thrown other things that aren't treble hook baits on this rod, like a Magdraft Freestyle, and I've thrown a bull flat 4/8 on it. I've thrown a couple other like soft plastics, nothing crazy though, but since it's still a swim bait rod, it still has some power to it. So with the Magdraft Freestyle, for example, cast, you feel that thump. I like to wind down and try and pick up a lot of that slack and really tighten up the line before I hit that fish hard. And you kind of just have to crack them pretty hard since this rod is fairly parabolic. I don't really recommend this rod if you're looking for a rod that's gonna fish like the Magdraft Freestyle or maybe a larger beast hook style bait. I just don't recommend it very much. It's just a little too parabolic, a little too soft. But I've talked about the Monstrous in the past, which is a very similar version of the Mark 56. And with that rod is a little bit faster than this Mark 56. And I think that rod suits and fits better for those one single hook, whether it's a beast hook or a jig hook on a swim jig. That rod is the rod. This one, it can do it, but I have missed a lot of fish on the Mark 56 when I'm trying to throw like a bigger bull flat or something like that. So keep that in mind. You can do it, but I don't necessarily recommend that you try it. If you're just doing treble hook baits, this is the rod to go with. It's a fantastic rod. Now, I've paired the rod up with becoming basically my favorite reel. This is the Shimano Bantam. It's a 150 size reel, and I feel like it fits really nicely on this rod. Now, the Bantam is not the lightest reel. It is a very solid feeling reel, and the reason why I went with that is because I still wanted it to feel like a swim bait rod, and the Bantam kind of balances it all out. Though it is heavier than like a Steez A that I know Ben and some of the other guys really like, this Bantam just feels a little more solid in hand, and it feels like it adds a little bit of weight. So when I'm throwing a 2 ounce or a 3 ounce bait on this rod, it all kind of balances out super nice. And you can't go wrong with just a normal 150 size or like a Steez A. Anything in that size range will fit really nicely. You could go up to like a Tatula 200 as well on this. Once you put like an Antares DC Monster Drive or something along that size, it starts to feel a little big on this rod. So keep it in that 150 to 200 size, and the reel will fit really nice on the rod. All right, other than that, that is the Megabass P5 Mark 56. An absolutely fantastic rod. Again, for the guys that have picked up this rod, they've absolutely fallen in love with it. It's just the perfect, 7'6", super light, crisp action, that 1 to 3 ounce Shad glide bait rod. It just does everything that you'd ever want it to, and it's a nice rod. So if you guys have any other questions about the Mark 56, leave a comment down below, and I'll happily get back to you guys on them. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.